Hey everyone, good morning to all of you. In our previous video, which was posted maybe 6 or 7 days before, we were undertaking a pattern prediction of a prelims examination, which was definitely one of the most watched videos in our session. It was one of the favorite video, and currently almost 700 plus people had already watched that video. And I'm very happy that many of you listened to the strategies that were discussed in that video with regard to UPSC Prelims Examination 2020. It was just like a pattern prediction process. And in the beginning of that video, I mentioned that I'm working or I'm just acting like a person who is predicting your future based on a horoscope. Here, my horoscope is definitely not your palm or definitely not anything written by somebody else years before. But my horoscope is definitely the previous year UPSC questions and how the pattern of UPSC questions were changing over a period of time. Today, I am continuing that session, that pattern prediction session, and my focus of attention today would be to divide the whole paper into different areas and how each single area, what all questions can be expected from each single area, definitely. So to begin with my discussion, my most sought after, or we can say my most preferred area today would be definitely Indian history, precisely, and that too, which is divided into ancient, medieval, and modern. And now my focus of attention would be modern Indian history. So I'm trying to identify what would be the potential questions from modern Indian history expected in 2020 and how you can deal with those questions. I assure you 100% that definitely at least one area or maybe more than one area that we are discussing today will be there in the prelims question paper 2020, which is supposed to be held on May 31st. Maybe very likely the date may be postponed. Now I am directly dealing with my area. When we deal with modern India, if we identify how the question paper changed over a period of time, maybe from 1990s to 2000, modern India was highly factual. There were only factual and straightforward questions. What, when, who type of questions. I repeat, what, when, who type of questions. After 2011, precisely, when CSAT was introduced, GS1 also started undergoing some chemical changes, I would say, and even a history area, history domain from where you can expect, very well that modern India is a largest sought after area in history area or history domain, and maybe you can expect 10 to 12 questions or sometimes 12 to 14 questions in modern India alone. That increases the importance of this area. Right from 2011, modern India started showing a different trend that what, when, and who questions were replaced with a new set of questions or a new category of questions which was more analytical and which definitely never had any answer in any precise textbook unless you can arrive at your own conclusions. There lies the difference actually. Previously, if a what question, who question or when question was asked, if it is a when question, you're supposed to write the year or date. Who question, you're supposed to write the person. What question may be connected with a place or may be connected with an incident, may be connected with a specific event, etc. that happened with the freedom struggle or maybe anything connected with the freedom struggle or even with Gandhiji or something. But now things have started changing like anything that such questions are never asked by UPSC. Rather, UPSC is interested precisely in why question, why, certainly not what, when or who, in how question and in probability questions. I repeat, in probability question. What would have been the most likely thing that would have happened which the candidate need to actually sense when he read the question. I repeat, what would have happened is supposed to be sensed by the candidate when he read the question. Imagine, say for example, I already discussed this question, I am repeating this question. This question is related to Quit India movement that came in UPSC question paper. If my memory is right, maybe in 16 or 17. Question was like this with regard to Quit India movement. Identify which among the following statements are correct. One statement was this: Mahatma Gandhi or Gandhiji, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi or Mahatma Ji led the movement. And another statement was there, this movement was non-violent in character. Prima facie, we know very well that both the statements are correct, or at least statement 1 is definitely correct. Definitely, Mahatma Gandhi only led the movement, and we may think what silly question here. UPSC is asking such stupid question which is supposed to be asked for an LD clerk question, not for civil service examination. That may be our first thought, naturally. Second, again, the movement was non-violent. At least 50% of the candidates may think, yeah, the movement was predominantly non-violent. How can it be violent since it is a Gandhian movement? Gandhiji always emphasized on the notions of non-violence, passive resistance, fraternity, satyagraha, etc. and the least use of violence and perhaps no violence. And same Gandhi only stopped the non-cooperation movement, which was going successful due to the Chauri Chaura incident that killed almost 21 policemen in the Chauri Chaura village in UP. That also we know very well. So in that background, probably the candidate may go for an easy question, but actually it is the toughest question in the sense, when we come back to that question, UPSC has went to check whether the candidate has a good analytical ability. Let us examine the first statement. Gandhiji led the Quit India movement. Is the statement correct? If we go for a very close examination, we know very well that the statement is not correct. Gandhiji only launched the movement at Govalia Tank in Bombay in the International Congress session, and almost within 1 or 2 days, Gandhiji was arrested and he was placed in jail for launching the movement. Not only Gandhiji, but majority of the Congress leaders, including Jawaharlal Nehru, Vinoba Bhave, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Acharya Kripalani, of course, Maulana Azad, Vallabhbhai Desai, and many others were arrested. That is the reality. So how can you say that Gandhiji led the movement? Statement 1 is wrong. Only 1% of candidates, or maybe 1 to 5% of candidates, would have used this analytical skill to understand the actual import of the question. Second statement again, the movement was non-violent in character. Again, it was devised to be non-violent in character. That is the truth. As Gandhi was arrested immediately, Gandhi never ever got enough time to detail the strategy of the movement, and he only prescribed that the movement should be non-violent. The movement should be based on the notion of non-violence, non-cooperation and civil disobedience, and definitely do or die was a slogan. But certainly once he was arrested and majority of the predominant Congress leaders were arrested, the movement started taking a different turn, that is a violent turn, and finally the control of the movement reached those people like Aruna Asaf Ali, those people like Usha Tagore and many others who were certainly not firm believers in Gandhism, and they started. The communists came to the forefront of the movement, the left-wingers came, and even right-wingers came, extreme right-wingers came, the socialists came, and ultimately the Liberal Party came, and Congress leaders were also involved. Naturally, the movement started becoming violent very soon, and all over the country, violence erupted. Police stations were even attacked. People were lathi charged at large. Again, railway lines were disrupted. Communication devices were disrupted. Telegraph devices were disrupted. Public offices were arrested. Public offices were attacked. And similar incidents had happened all over the country. Naturally, how can you tell? In reality, the movement was non-violent. It was launched as a non-violent movement, but it was not non-violent. Especially when Gandhiji and prominent first-rung Congress leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru were arrested and Sardar Patel were arrested. Naturally, the movement started taking a different turn. This is the reality and this is the truth. Again, here the analytical ability of a candidate comes into the picture. Candidate cannot answer a question mere on the basis of mere facts, but he need to be a good, close analyzer. He should analyze the question very carefully and then only he should answer it properly. If such an analysis is required, whenever a candidate read, please listen this part very carefully. Whenever a candidate read a particular area, he need to ask questions himself. What would have happened if it happened like this? What would have happened if this was the situation? Was this the true nature of the movement? Such questions should be probed by the candidate himself so that he can develop his own answers to those questions. And again, he may be having that critical analysis bend of mind to answer a particular question. Again, as I stated in the beginning of the video, let me try to identify those areas which are important for Prelims 2020. The first and the foremost area where you can expect maybe a larger number of questions for Prelims 2020 is those developments that had taken place after 1939. I repeat, those developments that had taken place after 1939, precisely things like the individual satyagraha to begin with, a very important potential area. You need to read that area very closely. why Gandhiji launched individual satyagraha. Please read that area very carefully. Then again, Quit India movement, the nature, pattern, course and strategies involved in the movement, very important. The Cripps mission, Cripps came, why Cripps mission failed, that is a precise question. Cabinet mission, what were the major aspects of discussion of cabinet mission? Of course, Simla conference is also there, not very important still. Cabinet mission, what were the major aspects of discussion of cabinet mission and why cabinet mission could not achieve expected success, even then it could come out with certain resolutions. What were the prominent resolutions, especially those related to Pakistan, if that idea is accepted at least in a preliminary way. Again, Mountbatten Plan, very important area. What was the statement issued in Mountbatten Plan? And finally, the Indian Independence Act, which was definitely an amended version approved by the British Parliament on the Mountbatten Plan. This would be the general strategy. But these areas are very important because maybe for the past few years, not much questions are coming from this area. And definitely in 2018 and 19, UPSC started looking into these areas carefully. That is how the pattern or the trend proceeds. And naturally, a number of questions can be expected from those developments from 39 to 47. And I strongly feel, that maybe my gut feeling, that this time you can also expect a question on the reorganization of India that happened immediately after the attainment of independence in 1947-48 period under the leadership of Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. You can also expect questions related to that area because a states reorganization commission was constituted. Sardar Patel started dealing with the difficult task of bringing all the princely states together, and 3 or 4 princely states it was troublesome, like Hyderabad, Travancore. Again, Junagadh created some issues initially, and finally Kashmir, which even today continues to be an issue, a simmering issue, especially related to Article 370 and all. So naturally, this part is also very important because for the past many years, UPSC is not asking any question. Though the modern India syllabus comes to an end in 1947, 1947 is not the dead end, but you can expect questions from 47, 48 period too, especially events like the reorganization of India, the amalgamation or the integration of the princely states, which was a difficult task, the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, and maybe many similar incidents related to that. So candidates should also develop an idea regarding all those things that developed from 1939 to 1947 in a continuous manner, so that a clear-cut understanding can be developed, and should read this very carefully, give more priority to this phase of national movement from 39 to 47, and I am assuring you that you can expect maybe 4 to 5 or even 5 to 6 questions from this area. And definitely if you read this area very closely, as I stated, from an analytical point of view, from a critical point of view, that may be a scoring thing. You can score maximum marks in this area. And when you read this area, please be very careful that please don't read any guide-like books. Of course, Spectrum Publications brings out its book on modern India, written by Rajiv Ahir. Those events before 39, you can read Spectrum, no doubt. But again, when it comes to areas after 39, you should definitely refer to Bipan Chandra. Bipan Chandra again wrote an NCERT book. He also wrote a book, India's Struggle for Independence, published by Penguin Publishers. That is also important. So these two books can be brought together, and you need to develop a thorough understanding from both these books, both the NCERT one and the one published, India's Struggle for Independence by Penguin Publishers, so that a very comprehensive understanding is developed regarding incidents that happened after 1939. So once this part is over, you can conveniently say that you have covered comprehensively, systematically and meticulously a substantial part of modern India, especially for Prelims 2020. We'll meet again with another area, with another discussion on another area or which pattern is to be predicted with regard to Prelims 2020. Thank you.